If you're interested in getting a mortgage for £78 per month for less than £100 whilst achieving a rental income of more than £420 per month, then click the link in the description below to get access to our free training. Hi, my name is Deepak Shukla. I'm the founder at Pearl Lemon Properties, and today we're going to be giving you more property investment advice. So one of the things that's really important, and I think it's a word that will send shivers down the spine of any investor who's potentially watching, is to really minimize voids as much as possible. So what do I mean by void? A void is if you've got a rental agreement, there's basically a gap in your tenancy where you don't have anyone who's renting the property whilst you're still paying the mortgage. And that's problematic because ultimately it means you're not going to make any return in that month that the actual property is empty. Now, depending upon your rental yield, that can massively impact your ability to make returns over the year, because if it's, for example, 500 quid a month, and that means 6 grand over a year, and you have one of those months where you don't make that £500 and you've got to pay the mortgage, depending upon what happens after all costs, etc., are said and done, that could wipe out potentially your entire year's worth of profit. So it's something that you can't control completely, to a degree, definitely, but there's things that you can do to influence your tenancy when you're looking at maintaining consistent rents across as long a period as possible to get the best returns. So with that in mind, some of the things to think about are, we discussed in some of my previous training about, looking at rents annually to see if you want to increase them. Do not increase them at the cost of your tenant, because that could set you back a lot more when it comes to ultimately getting regular rental income. That's the first thing to consider when it happens. The second thing to consider, if you've already got tenants in situ, meaning you've got tenants, is to ensure you're just keeping on top of the maintenance, or that your agency are keeping on top of the maintenance. And then the third thing is that if you're managing the property, same thing. You're keeping on top of the maintenance. You're finding out if there's anything else that your tenant might need, and just making sure that these things are happening with your property, because otherwise you might get a surprise when a tenant moves out and you might not even know the true reason why. Now, this is things to consider when you've got a tenant in your actual building. How does that change when you're in the process of completing upon a property that's currently sitting vacant? Now, when a current property is sitting vacant, as soon as you've done the exchange, if you can see if you can get access to the building, you want to start improving the property as quick as you can. When I got my first property near my parents' place, near Heathrow Airport, I definitely didn't speed up the process as quick as I could have in terms of going in, getting all of the actual building improved, from the paint work that we did, from cleaning the back as well as the front garden, from just gutting out some of the crap that the old tenant had left behind. And this meant that we went, I think, 5 to 6 weeks without a tenant. And that cost us, I think the mortgage is like 320 quid. So it cost us, £550, which is 11 months worth of rent. So, it's not 11 months worth of rent, but a lot of the profit. So really consider some of these factors, because it will hurt you if you don't advertise rather go in as soon as you've done the exchange, to clean up the property as fast as you possibly can to get it ready to let. Second, even whilst it's still being worked upon, depending upon the nature of your actual, your actual changes or refurbishments or renovations, you can still, advertise. You can still look for tenants. Not every tenant would like to see a property that's being worked upon, but there'll be some potential tenants that like to see that it's going to be bloody almost like brand new when they come in and they say, look, if it finishes as you said it will, then I'm happy to, move ahead. And that's perfectly reasonable. So really consider what you can do to minimize voids. Advertise as soon as you possibly can. Fix everything as soon as you possibly can. Maintain tenant happiness always, and that's going to set you up to minimize the amount of voids as much as you can. So catch you in the next training. And again, if you want to have a look at how you can get a mortgage for less than 100 quid a month and get a rental income of more than £400, click the link in the description below to get access to our free training, and catch you in the next video.